この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Flip Flappers, episode 8. Last week's episode of Flip Flappers was quite a doozy and I think quite an enjoyable episode. I had a lot of fun picking it apart and trying to find interesting things in it, and there was a lot to uncover, a lot to unpack in the last episode. So let's go through it relatively quickly and talk about it and talk about where we think we might be going into the next episode and be completely wrong because this show shakes things up so frequently and so completely that any kind of predictions based on the previous episode are pretty much futile, but we'll do this anyway. So we started off the episode with the idea that there are actually consequences for actions taken within the pure illusions, specifically the deeper level of pure illusion, or the dark place, or the dark hole, which at a later point in the episode, Yayaka warns Kokona pretty strongly about, like, no, that's a really scary, dangerous place. Maybe don't go back there. Bad idea. And we eventually figure out that there are significant ripple effects for diving deep into the, like, subconscious motivations of other characters and altering them. Big fucking deal to change somebody's entire worldview and perspective and stuff. So, yeah. And then that triggers some of Kokona's original fears, the things that actually led her into this journey in the first place, and brings her back, in a sense, to her starting point. This idea that there are consequences for actions, and you're afraid and terrified of those consequences, fearing regret, and so that leads to just paralysis, and this escape that she's had for the last 6 episodes of going off to pure illusion and having these fun, bombastic adventures with Papika. It's not so much an escape anymore, and she's realized that there are still consequences for her actions within the pure illusions, and that's something that she needs to reconcile, because the things that she does in that weird mental fabricated realm are just as important or just as real as the things that she physically does in reality, and that is scary. That is scary. So it all starts off with Iro basically throwing away all of her art, losing her muse, and that is horrible and horrifying, and a great way to drive that point home that there are actually consequences to what we do inside pure illusion, and we should probably be pretty careful. And it also kind of ups the stakes for whatever the hell Asclepius is doing, because they've been diving into pure illusions for a while, and they don't strike me as the kind of organization that cares what kind of ripple effects that they have, as long as it leads to their end goal and doesn't get in the way of what they're trying to accomplish, world conquest, although we still don't know what that really means. So it ups the stakes a little bit. There are things that can happen in pure illusion, and they can be bad. So yeah, Tunnel to Hell, that black place you saw, one implication of this that I didn't really catch, and I'm not sure if it's intentional, is the idea that hell is present. Hell is not a far-off place that you go after you die. Hell is within the mind. It's within our own minds and the minds of others. Which I think is an interesting idea, and not one that I want to explore too deeply, but this idea that torture comes from within is interesting and potentially important. Then we get some interesting lines from Dr. Salt, who inserts himself into a conversation with Hidaka, which was not very useful until Salt actually steps in, but once Salt steps in, it becomes a very, very important conversation, where he talks about friction between worlds, or the impossibility of a frictionless utopia, or a utopia where worlds interact fluidly. And this finally clued me into the idea that we are operating essentially within layered allegories of the cave, layered Plato-ish allegories of the cave, where reality is a thing, but a layer on top of that of the shadows that we can actually observe and the way that we interpret them it also exists, and everyone's layer of interpretation and perspective is different. So when we try to communicate across those boundaries using our own interpretations, we have to deal with that. We have to put more energy into that conversation in order to actually talk on the same playing field and ensure that we're speaking about the same things. It's just a natural part of the way that we define the world around us, and it's difficult. It makes interactions tough. And then we got into kind of the meaty core of the episode, which was the actual pure illusion experience, where Kokona found herself alone, like alone. She didn't the way that I'm interpreting it is she didn't sync up with Papika's feelings, and so they didn't enter pure illusion together. Instead, Kokona entered solo and was only able to grasp illusory images of Papika. But the variants and the forms that those illusory images took were the interesting part. We got a whole bunch of different variants of potential Papikas, or potential ways that Kokona could view Papika, or potential incarnations of Kokona's relationship with Papika, from the Emoto Papika, who gives her intimacy and is dependent upon her, and is kind of cute and intimate, but in a more platonic way, all the way over across the sliding scale through Punk Papika, who's also doting and fun, and Ikemen Papika, who she shares a romantic experience with the secondhand kiss, or the boyish Papika in class who leads her out to skip class and go on an adventure, all the way over to the succubus demonic Papika who tempts her sexually. And it's that whole scale, and none of them are really Papika, and eventually Kokona finds herself once again alone by the riverside, and Yayaka and the pair just go off past her, having collected the Amorphous, and Kokona finds herself alone. She screams out for the real Papika, and finds herself falling into that dark place, that dark hell, before Papika lives up to a promise she made at the very beginning of the episode and catches her when she falls, which is very cute and very cool, and a great little climax for the episode. And then we still had like 3 minutes left, at which point we discovered that Yayaka is viewed by the Asclepius cult as obsolete, essentially, that the Amorphous children are better than her, and that she cannot collect Amorphous on her own. So that's interesting. We'll see what we do with that. I feel like that's going to be a bit of our focus in the next episode. I kind of hope, because I want to know more about the Asclepius cult. I want to know more about Yayaka and all that stuff, because it seems really important. And then our girls found themselves transported into a particular, very recognizable meadow filled with strange, distorted, almost sculptures of metal, I think. I don't really know what they are. They look like junk that's been through like a spaceship crash. It's ridiculous. And Soruto, not looking like his normal Soruto self, is there, and he's doing stuff, and he's got a thing, and we were treated to a very, very, very short, very momentary little flashback moment, centered around a character that we don't know yet, named Mimi. Mimi seems to be an older woman, not older, but older than Kokona and Papika, right? And in the sequence that we see this, we see Soruto without sunglasses, with only one eye. We see Papika screaming after Mimi, and we see Mimi carrying what looks like a small child with blue hair. So confusing. Papika looked in that scene like she's the same age that she is now, as though she is just frozen at her current physical development state. I think Mimi is in some form or format the mother of Kokona, and fled with Kokona to save her from something. Gave her to her current grandma character, who has been taking care of her since. That's what I think is going on, but I really don't know. And I also think that Mimi is the character who we see half of the face of in the boat sequences that we've been treated to at the beginning of episodes multiple times. But we don't really have enough pieces to turn that into a coherent picture. Those pieces make sense. Mimi is escaping with Kokona, but other elements like the age difference between Kokona and Papika, which disappears, and a lot of other things don't quite make sense. So we'll have to just wait and see if we are treated to any other bits and pieces about Mimi. There was an implication, I think, that there might have been some kind of romantic relationship between Soruto and Mimi, but I don't really know. And all of that ties into the one scene in the OP that we have of Soruto with what looks like a younger Soruto sitting back to back, which seems to imply like early goals that he's still following up on, despite losses along the way, is what I think of when I see that. Anyway, that was a lot to get through, but as I said, there was a lot that happened in the last episode. We recontextualized what pure illusions mean, both to our characters and to the show as a whole. We found out a bunch of interesting information about Yayaka and the cult. We established some stuff about the way that Papika and Kokona want their relationship to play out. There was a lot here, and we were hinted at a whole bunch of things that seemed critically important for the main plot, like the Mimi thing and the Yayaka stuff. So, cool. Will we start off in that meadow, or are we going to have the kind of a reset that we've had the number of episodes in Flip Flappers, where it seems like the events of the previous episode don't really impact the current one? I don't know. Let's find out. So, I've got Flip Flappers episode 8 up and ready to go. It's sitting at 0 seconds. Oh yeah, and the title is Pure Breaker, which I think is intended to mean like a breaker switch. What that's going to mean story-wise, I don't really know. I mean, that's a full off button, but maybe that's not what it means. I don't know. But I've got episode 8 up and ready to go. It's sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description. Timer-based version will be up on YouTube. If you would like to do a syncy thing and sync up your own copy of episode 8 of Flip Flappers with the timer-based version up on YouTube, you are welcome to do so. Just get your copy ready because the beep beep timer to count you down will be coming at you now. Okay, looks like we're back at school. Looks like all is normal, and it's summer. Got cicadas. This is very strange. Oh, hi, Buchan. Of course you are. Me? Me? What? I don't think so. I don't think that's a candy. What is it, like a chlorine block or something? I don't know. Oh, hi. Oh, Hayaka. Oh. I mean, I guess. Huh. And that's what glows when she... It was glowing in the previous episode. Alright, this is a very strange start. Okay. I'll catch you if you fall. But I'll fall with you. What? What? Who's that? What? Where's this? What is... Why is... What is... Who is... How is... What? Neo Tokyo? I think it's Neo Tokyo. I've seen enough Neo Tokyo to know Neo Tokyo when I see... No, I know. Okay. A city pure illusion. With a male character with white hair. Who doesn't seem to be the twin. He doesn't seem to be the twin. He reminds me more of Salt. Maybe neither. Maybe none of the above. Also, the goggles and the flowing cape thing, just pure Gurren Lagann flowing over me. Let it flow over me, please. Gurren Lagann is the mind killer. Gurren Lagann is the little death. I will let Gurren Lagann flow over me and through me. When Gurren Lagann has passed, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. And where Gurren Lagann has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Sorry, that was the stupidest, nerdiest thing I may have ever said. As long as I'm cracking myself up, I'm happy, so deal with it. Alright, let's figure out this city-based pure illusion place. Oh, hi. Oh. Oh. Is that the alert that Kokona and Pavika have gone somewhere? Hmm. That seems important. Nope. Yeah, that seems like a problem. Okay. True. Welcome to Tron. Oh, I wish I had watched Tron more recently. I would have more Tron jokes. I think that's probably a monster. Birdie the Mighty? Sorry, I'm a little bit in shock from cute birdie boy being a murder monster. Okay. Well, this is fun. Oh. Hey, gotta love the shield. Hayaka. And they're all in swimsuits as well. Ha. Okay. Ugh. Ugh. Right. We're here for our own reasons. Shit. Nice to see ya. See you next week. Oh, hello. Also, voice actor, who are you? Wait, who is that? Oh, he's tiny. Wait, who is that? He's a total Judy. Just the one eye. Or it's in him. Oh, I heard what you said, but I also saw what you did. You're on thin ice. Alright, Amorphous located. Alright, and the divide, the wedge between Yaika and her partners is growing. Okay. Maybe it's Hidaka. Maybe this is how he views himself. I'm who is that voice actor? I know it's somebody that I know. This is Hidaka's world, isn't it? This is exactly how he would see himself in his own world. A super mental genius. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, whoa, that's... Oh no, they're just huge. Right. Because he's really tiny. Compared to you. We're super powerful. That's really big. Oh! Just staring at it? What is it? Eh? Did it hypnotize them? Oh boy. Of course it's a giant mecha kaiju thing, because that's what he would be... That's how he would view it. Jesus. That was a sequence. Nice catch. Got to. Is that our boy? Yeah, it's Pops. Thank you. Jesus, that is a great effect. Idaro. Ah. Ah, the true otaku mindset, kind of. Don't tell me what's impossible. You were. That is right. But I... Fuck yeah. Okay. Which consists of... Oh, he just has another one. Oh, I mean, yeah. Eh, I think they'll be alright. Oh! Gotta have a mecha to fight a mecha. This pleases me greatly. Oh, is that? Huh. Is the robot Boo the mecha that they're in? Kind of. Not really, though. Oh! Again catching her when she falls. Framing! Uh-huh. Finally. Gotta combine. Time to combine. Yep, there we go. Oh my god, we get a full sequence for it. Oh my god, we get an insert. Oh my god, this is too perfect. This is the best thing. This is the greatest thing that I've ever seen. Ever. That's a reference. Oh, we put that on Yayaka. You want to save them. Force her to answer. Yeah, and they're watching. The answer was yes. The answer was yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yapiko mode? Another song! Oh my god. And with the broken horn? Awesome. Oh, see ya. Of course. Gotta remove the limiter. Flip-flapping. Do it. Do it. Link with us. Link with us. Three-way combine. With spirit though. And this is built into her potential heel face turn. Oh, there it goes again. The bus horn. Oh my god, it's just entering a bigger version. Size matters, baby. Hui! Ava. Ava. Yeah. Ava. Also pretty Ava. Okay. That's the world, I guess. Okay, and it's a brain. Okay. All in digital space. Alright, there's the Amorphous. And they claim it. No, you do not! Let's go. Wait. Never mind. Okay. I'm sure you will. That was quite a choice that Yayaka just made. When she said they're arriving soon, did she mean them or did she mean something else? One yellow, one blue. Okay, we've got okay, back to Hidaka. Oh, hi, boo. And it's all cleaned up a little. No, it isn't. Okay, it's still. There's a good bit of time at the end. This was a strange episode. A lot of fun. I mean, the homages to Super Robot stuff were just dope. just fun. I don't know if there's as much depth to this one though. It seems like a bit of a lighter episode. I'll go through it again and think it through. See if I can glean something. But it might be in vain and it might be a waste of time. I still want to make sure though. I want to make sure that if there's something I catch it. Or at least I try. Yeah, we've got almost a minute left on my time. So there's something. Oh, shit. Shit. Fuck. Oh. Pure mute. Okay, and then we already saw this scene. Yayaka without color in her hair. Young Yayaka. And them as friends, as childhood friends. Maybe real, maybe in pure illusion. Anyway, not an image that I necessarily wanted to see. Neither was that. Whoops. Okay, but pure mute. Breaker seems to be a bit out of the flow of these titles, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe this episode is supposed to be a little bit of a fillery one, because all of them fit like an audio chain except for Breaker. Breaker is like house electrical. It's outside of the loop. So maybe it's meant to be a break away from the core flow of the story, which makes a lot of sense, given that we do what I said that we might do at the beginning, which is to have the kind of a reset situation. Because we ended last episode with Papika and Kokona in that meadow area, and Salt being there, and lots of stuff being implied, and lots left hanging. And we start this episode, normal day at school. It's PE class doing pool. That's where we start, and there's nothing that even touches on any of the stuff that happened last time. I mean, there are the elements where we're still recovering from and figuring out how we're going to deal with the idea that pure illusions have consequences. Kokona is still wrestling with that, and that comes up in this episode. And she makes a choice in this episode. I was afraid to go into pure illusion because there would be consequences for my actions. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm going to do what I need to do. Good, solid stuff. Good, thank you, nice. But yeah, kind of a disconnected episode focused on Hidaka. So it took me a little bit to get it, but I think what's going on is this is Hidaka's pure illusion. He sees himself as a super duper genius, and all of his over the topness comes across as otaku-ish, chuuni-ish, mad scientist flair in his own world, right? So yeah, mad scientist flair and chuuni-ish. All the things that he's talking about, they work. And of course he sees himself this way in his own world, his own city. A city that worships intellect and invention and creation, that is technology all throughout. And then we see it from far above at one point once they go flying. Or no, it's at the very end when we see the scar across it. Yeah, when we see the scar across it, and when we go further away from it, it looks like a brain is what I'm getting at. It worships brain power and intellect there. Yeah, it looks like a big floating brain made of technology, right? That sounds like the kind of world that Hidaka would create. And then surrounding it, all of these sparkly things, these aren't stars or galaxies. They're more reminiscent of lightning or neural pathways, like nervous system stuff. I think that's pretty intentional and makes a lot of sense for Hidaka's vision of himself and the world that he might create. The fact that he says that he created it all himself by hand, like one piece by piece, makes sense as well. That's how an obsessive intellectual individual would view their own mental space, right? Something carefully created. Then the question is, what are these to him? For us, narratively, there are conflict. There are thing that threatens our characters, that makes this more than just an empty techno world that they can just explore. But what are they? Why do they look like parrots or parakeets? I don't know. What do they represent within his brain? I don't really know. Some kind of corruption? Like, the thing that they're doing is they're pulling at wires and consuming mental energy, right? If this is the brain and then all the energy within it is thought power, then these are what, errant thoughts? Something like that? I don't know. I really like the color scheme of the whole space. It's cool and crazy. It's Tron-y, but unique on its own. And it lends itself to some really interesting framing, which we see throughout the course of the episode. Even this shot is pretty neat. This low angle shot, Kokona making herself, yeah. Yeah. And then leading into the big boom. Very scary. Very nicely done. Transition. Henshin. Yeah, and then shots like this. I like shots like this. All the focus being brought to this point by these two lines. It's really cool. And then this line accenting, yeah, and crossing both headlines. That's nice. That's some good stuff. Coloration throughout the episode is really good too. Not as consistent as the blue and orange episode with Iro, but throughout the characters are bathed in interesting colors. And there's a lot of stuff that they, because the environment is so blocky, they're able to do sequences like this and make them look pretty good. Yeah. With the CG environment moving around. It's pretty neat. Pretty neat. A lot of cool dynamic shots. And then more framing cool things. The fact that we've got these how do I put it? Straight lines on the floor gives us endless room to frame things however we want and still have like guidelines that draw the users or the viewers attention to the places that we want it to. It's really cool. It happens throughout the episode. All right, so we meet the dude. I don't know what his weapon thing is actually supposed to be. We never get a clear enough view. Okay, so now that we've really met him in in the course of our going through the episode, I desperately need to know who that voice actor was because I recognize the voice, but I can't name him. So let me find out. Give me a minute. I should have trusted my goddamn instincts. I should have trusted my instincts. I knew it. I didn't say it just because, like 3 days ago, somebody commented on one of my videos saying the Teeaboo, the "It's Kirito" joke is getting overplayed. Because in Treasure Hunt, whenever like a generic isekai or fantasy MC appears and has like the Kirito going on, I'll make a joke about it and be like, "It's Kirito," and like I don't know, 1 out of every 3 times it's actually the voice actor for Kirito because he gets all those roles. But yeah, this is Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, who is the voice actor for Kirito and Bell Cranel and Inosuke and Hanazawa in Mob and Sora in No Game No Life and of course motherfucking Kirito. So yeah, I should have trusted my instincts and just gone with that's Kirito because that's Kirito. Okay, so that's Kirito. Neat. But it's Hidaka, right? And I don't think there's any I don't think there's much room for arguing that. I did have the thought that maybe it's Boo because they enter pure illusion by falling into Boo-chan, right? They fall into Boo at the bottom of the pool, and then the sort of techno world kind of makes sense for a brain in a robot body, which is what he is. And then Boo, once there's the gigantic explosion inside that world, he comes in here and explodes, right? And Hidaka has to fix him. So you could argue, I think you could argue if you wanted to, that maybe this is Boo's world, and what we're seeing is Boo as the Doc. I don't think that's the case, though. There are too many like matches between Hidaka and the character. The glasses and the goggles, the way that they type, the nature of their lab space. Where's the particular shot from behind? Yeah, this one. Versus the lab that he has, which we see like here. Yeah. Yeah. That whole space there. This one. It's very similar. Same kind of clutter in the foreground, same space in the background with the keyboard and stuff. So I think it's pretty clear that this is that. So then, question: are the monsters and stuff? are those within this pure illusion, or do they appear because of Papika and Yayaka being there? Papika and Kokona and Yayaka being there. That's kind of what I'm wondering. Is the big robot that they fight, is that his demon, or is that theirs? Because if it's his, then it's meaningless. If it's theirs, then we can glean meaning from it, I think. I mean, it's not meaningless if it's his. We could go along the line of saying, like, the parakeets and the gigantic monster are distracting thoughts for Hidaka. And we could even tie that in, because the monster or the big robot that they fight seems to be, you can read it as a sexual metaphor if you want to, along with the idea of rebellion and combining to fight it off. And you could even tie that into Yayaka's partial heel face turn in this episode, if you wanted to, as a switching teams sexually thing. If you wanted to. Okay, so if we want to read it that way, if we want to generate our own pure illusion shadow on the wall of the cave from the images that we've already gotten in this episode, then we can read this as, within Hidaka's mind, clarity and intellect and building things and protecting what's already been built is critical, and focusing on that is critical. There are these constant small thoughts that are within his brain that are haranguing him and destroying infrastructure, tearing at wires and things. And if we want to, we can interpret those thoughts as being, there's no reason to do so, but there's also no reason not to, so I'm going to anyway. We can interpret those as being like sexual thoughts encroaching on his ability to focus, if we want to, right? And then the big thought, the big monster is like some big threatening thought that threatens to tear down his entire situation. Maybe. There's also the element that because we crash into Buchan, we don't know how much Buchan might influence our world or the pure illusion that we're existing in. And we know that Boo is a pervert. That's basically all we know about the robot Buchan. He's a total pervert, also a brain in a robot. Don't know why, but that's what it is. And pervy as hell. I mean, he got into this by being underwater in the pool, trying to look at high school students in their swimsuits. That's what was happening. So we entered this place with him, and I think that existence, like his psychology within this world, has an impact, because this world is hypersexual. Like, this pure illusion that we go to is super duper sexually framed all throughout. Like, when we arrive, we end up with immediate sexual framing, and all throughout. Hold on, let's jump into it. Yeah, all right. Demure, Papika butt. Demure, more Papika. Blah 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 blah. That's some Yuri framing. They're really close, and then fighting and stuff. But there's a lot, and we'll see more as we move through the episode. But there's a lot of fan service oriented framing that is notable in Flip Flappers, I would say, because while there are scenes where we get fan servicey moments, they're never as much as there were in this episode. The closest I can think of really is we got one butt shot of Yayaka, and it was a good butt, and that's all that left an impression on me. But yeah, as we squeeze them into the thing, there's much fan service. This is framed in a particular way. Lots of things are framed in a particular way. It's interesting, to say the least. So it makes me wonder what kind of influence Buchan's presence might have on this illusion. If it's just that, then that's fine. That works. That's cool. That's okay. Ah, okay. And beyond just sexual fan service, let's be clear. Most of this episode, I think most of the runtime of this episode is super robot fights and action sequences and like shonen lines. I want to protect what's precious to me and all that jazz, and laser beam fights and big explosions and transformation sequences and stuff. That's what most of the episode is, and most of that stuff is referential in nature, either being straight Gundam or Transformers references, or straight up Ava references. They're all here. The gang's all here for this. From the Broken Horn, which could be Gurren Lagann, Broken Horn Mecha anime. I know it's a common thing. Oh, Gaiking. That would be one of the things. Yeah. Because they turned into something king. Mecha Defender robot consisting of 3 separate components. The Great Space Dragon's head, an arm unit, and a leg unit, I think. Dino Mech Gaiking. So that's one of our references, for sure, and the big horns are a part of it. Don't know about the broken horn. The only broken horn I can think of is Gurren Lagann. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Okay, cool. Neat. Where was I going with that? Oh, most of the runtime is fan servicey. Whether that's sexual or super robot stuff or action stuff, it's savisu all throughout. That's interesting. It's a very fan servicey filled world, which makes sense for an episode that is breaking the mold, if you want to think of it that way. Okay, then there's this interaction, which is then echoed at the end. This interaction between the two of them, where she's squeezing through and berates him for his messy-ass lab. You're letting your eyes go to waste. My problem is all the waste in this room. Sure, it looks like that to someone with a tainted heart. Bring me a cup of tea instead. Okay. Did someone build all this? Yes, they did. Alright. So we blow the crap out of those things. And then there's the Yayaka thing. I didn't really want to help you, Baka. And the continuous pressure from her duo, from her partners. This is interesting. And I'll tie it into the sexual reading of the episode a little bit later. But this is interesting that Yayaka is torn here. She does want to help them. Like, she's been doing this repeatedly. She's been going out of her way to avoid harming Papika and Kokona, to convince her white-haired duo to just leave once they get the Amorphous and just ignore them and let them do their thing. But she's unwilling to go the distance and actually admit that she feels something for them. Like, that she actually cares about them. And then there's the other layer of the dynamic, which is that she's on the outs with her current club, right? The Asclepius cult as a whole and her duo as individuals are all watching her, and she's on thin ice. So this is a difficult situation for her. If she slips up, she could be thrown away, and we don't know what that consists of for the Asclepius cult. Probably not just, oh, you're free to go, do whatever you want now. Probably not. Okay, other elements. Why is he short? Strikes me as an interesting element, an odd piece to Hidaka's world. Assuming that, again, that this is Hidaka's world, which I think is safe to assume. Why is he so short? Why is he so small in his own mind? That's an interesting layer to this. And I think it's one that we could just handwave. We could just be like, because it's weird. I don't know. But it's more than that. It's important, isn't it? Because it's more than just that he's short. He's diminutive. He's really tiny. And everything around him is really tiny. And then beyond that, he's... how do I put it? It's a weird word to use for it, but it fits perfectly. He's impotent in his own world. that's what we see here, at least. There are all these threats. There are these like parakeet things and this giant monster. I guess he does blow up one of the parakeet things before entering screen. But with the giant monster, he's not able to fight it on his own, despite being the mastermind creator of this world. He has to rely on the big people for help. And in reality, he's a bigger person than they are, but it's kind of the same way, right? He might be a super genius who can create all this tech, but he's stuck home at the lab while the girls, the little teenagers, go out and fight his battles for him. All he can do is give them tech and give them information and stuff. It's interesting. I think that's probably why he's short, but I don't know. Okay, another intimacy moment. You know, Coconut and Paprika are much physically closer over the course of this episode. Like, all throughout it. Even in the very beginning, it's a bit of a moment here. Yeah, this one, as they run together. This, like, running, holding hands behind somebody and showing the face, showing behind is so classic shoujo. Classic romance. There's context to what we're seeing. And that context is from other anime. It's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I built this entire city all by myself, and now this gigantic monster is threatening. We're pretty big ourselves. And we get the decision to go ahead and fight it. And we get this moment. So this is the emotional moment for the episode. I was afraid I might change something again, afraid I might destroy something, but I'm not scared anymore. I'm going now. Want to protect what's precious. And I shall entrust you with the power of rebellion. Interesting thing to say, isn't it? What a strange phrase when what he's giving them is a giant mecha. The power of rebellion. What is the form of this power of rebellion? What form does it take? Well, it takes the form of these two giant mechas. Okay. And those mechas are not enough. And then in order to enable the power of rebellion, we have to combine. We have to gatai. Okay. How do we feel about that when it happens? So we cram ourselves into this tiny space. There's much more sexual framing. Boom, boom. And then from behind, there's more. Boom. All right, anyone else worried? Nope, not at all. And lines like, I felt a draft down there. Okay, but we make our way up into cool space. Unit 1 Vermilion, go! And we go. We emerge and we fight. And there are fights and stuff. Okay, so that's an Ava reference. And that's an Ava reference. It's also, I want to say, Bleach Mask. Yeah, it's kind of similar. It's kind of similar. I don't know. Okay. But references abound regardless. And things start going downhill. And what do we need to do in order to protect the city that has been built and activate the power of rebellion? We have to gatai. You two might just be the key. Awaken your hearts and flip-flapping. Combine. How does Paprika feel? Gung-ho. How does Coconut feel? She's blushing. I think combining is a thinly veiled metaphor. Right? Sex, right? Yeah? Align our mental states, become as one, right? It's sex. Okay? Okay, good. So, what's the other side? Okay, we'll give this the credit that it's due. The fully animated, full-on, super robot, henshin gatai sequence is fucking awesome. The fact that there is a Flip Flappers specific insert song for the whole thing is fucking amazing. The whole sequence is the best. This is just the best. I love it. Okay. So we lose. It's not enough. Rebellion on its own is not sufficient. The two of them combining on their own is not sufficient. I don't know what this is a reference to, but this shot is so distinctive that I will say flat out that I am positive that this is a reference to some specific shot in some specific Super Robot show where something like this happens. I don't know what though. Okay. And then we get to this moment. Do you want to save them? This is where we force Yayaka's hand. Okay. What are Papika and Kokona rebelling against? Gender, sexual, and cultural norms about Yuri. Over the course of the show, I would say that's big context, right? Okay. What is Yayaka struggling with? Well, she is the odd person out on a team that is otherwise heterosexual. She is one girl in a team that is otherwise a male-female pairing, although they're seemingly siblings. It doesn't really matter in this context. And the other team is homosexual. There's two girls. She's on the outs with her heterosexual team. The other team is not strong enough without her. She is forced to admit that she wants to save them in order to actually get the tech to save them. And in order to actually go through with it and get the power that's necessary, she has to align her mind with theirs. She said before, maybe I'm just wired differently, right? And I took that as being I'm literally built differently. But some people in the comments were saying stuff like, well, what if it just means that maybe she's straight or believes that she's straight at this point in her life? I think this is evidence toward that interpretation. What if she is, at the very least, questioning or closeted? Then a whole bunch of stuff that Yayaka's done clicks into place, including this. She's got authority telling her that this is not the right thing to do. She clearly, like, her instinct is to go ahead and do this to help these two and to partner with them. She goes for it. They transform. They end up becoming more powerful than ever, and they win. It's kind of a ridiculous thing that they become. I mean, it's super dumb looking. Giant super block bot. Another Ava reference. Also kind of an Ava reference. And they win. And she convinces them to leave again without the Amorphous. And they will report this, so that is scary for Yayaka. And then we return here, and all is well. Sort of. And now she offers to make him the tea. And then she calls her Mimi. Oh boy. Awkward. Awkward. Okay. Take a last minute think and see if I missed anything. Because I had some other things that I think I wanted to say. And I might have missed some of them. Give me a sec. Okay, yeah, I think I got most of everything that I wanted to. The core emotional moment where Kokona flips from just kind of going along with the ride to all of the pure illusions and just getting caught up into it to actively choosing to want to protect things is good. Is a good proactive moment from Kokona and a good switch from her. And then there's just like a little just a little piece here when Pops tells Yayaka what to do. Yeah. she asks, like, is there anything I can do to make this thing more powerful? We did it. No, you didn't. Yeah, okay. This thing has some other gimmick, right? Release your impedance by doing the flip-flapping, by yelling like the other two, by joining the other two, right? Your impedance being the things that are holding you back, like maybe norms and like things you've been told and convinced are right, or, you know, normative ideas about gender and sexuality. That works. That works. We could interpret things that way if we want to. Okay. Overall take on this episode. I don't think this is a great episode of Flip Flappers. That's not to say that I didn't have fun with it. I think it's a blast. This was a lot of fun. All of the referential stuff, the vibes that this whole world and environment give off, the cool transformation sequences, and the big robot Gatai Henshin things with the insert songs are lovely. And the whole thing is just bombastic and fun and fan servicey and quite a blast. I figure if I had better knowledge of Super Robot shows, I would probably get more of those references, but I'm okay with that as is. It was a lot of fun. This episode is tons of funs, but it's an isolated one-off pure illusion adventure, and it feels like we kind of, in the last couple episodes, kind of hit the point in the show where we should be on the rails and moving toward progression continuously. So it feels like a major bump in the road, like an obstacle pacing-wise for the whole show, which is a bit of an issue. It's kind of off when we had a series of episodes that are really intricate and philosophical, psychological, delving into the real building blocks of what makes this show tick and answering, or at least leading to big answers to big questions. And then we hit us with this episode that seems kind of out of nowhere, out of left field, and really breaks up the pacing. If that was intentional, then it did its job. Why you would want to do that over the course of your show in episode 8, I don't know. So, do I think this is a good episode of anime? Absolutely. Do I think this is a great episode of Flip Flappers? I think it could be as like an episode 3. But as an episode 8, after what we've just received, I don't know. Maybe not so much. Like, let me... What have the episodes been? First entrance into Pure Illusion in the Snowy World, goofy fun. Episode 2's Pure Illusion was... I kind of forget. Was it the Bunny World? Yeah, okay, the Bunny World, which is kind of the same sort of thing. It's like a one-off adventure that doesn't really make a lot of sense. 3, with the Welwitchia stuff, kind of comes in and adds some elements to things. Like, we find out about Yayaka and the Amorphous going on, and we start moving in a direction, I think, with this episode. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, is where things kind of change. Well, no, 4 kind of does. I don't know. I feel like this could work in those early episodes. This kind of a one-off craziness episode could work in those early episodes. With where we are in the series, I guess it's maybe the last opportunity to do something like this before we really need to buckle down and focus on core stuff for the next episodes. So overall, good episode of anime, not a great placement for an episode of Flip Flappers, if that makes sense. Or maybe I'm missing something. That's possible too. Maybe I've misinterpreted some aspect of the episode and am just disappointed by like my own reading, my own pure illusion of what the episode is, as opposed to the actual the ideal, if you will, to use Plato logic. Either way, interesting and fun to talk about. This was good. And an enjoyable 20 minutes and then like an hour of conversation and discussion about it. So still good times. Okay, we'll wrap there. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Flip Flappers episode 8. But a lot of fun. Cool. I'll see you next week for episode 9. Peace.